Hi, everybody. I'm super excited today. We have Dean Altstaetter from Ohio Northern University, who's going to share more about ONU with us. And you guys are the polar bears, right? That's
That's
your,
right.
and I'm sad
Polar
I don't
bears.
have like a polar bear mascot to put behind me or something. I feel like I need that. So, but I'm excited. Even though I have grown up not so far from the Ohio Northern campus and I've been there multiple times, it's always amazing to me the amount of change that's happened on campus there over the years. So I'd love to hear what's new and anything you want to share with us that you think would be important for anybody watching this. That would be awesome.
Sure, lots of changes, and you're right. Every year there's always something, and we're updating either the student life areas or we're very excited about an engineering building that we finished a year ago, and so I'll talk a little bit about that too. You can see here in this next slide, just at a glance, we're 5 colleges, and we started in 1871 as a teachers college, and then we developed these colleges soon after that. So they all are over 100 years old and well established. And like I said, engineering has a new facility, and it's provided lots of student space in a variety of ways, 3 floors, and we have always been in the top 50 engineering schools at small campuses nationwide. And we don't have a graduate program, but for those that don't have a graduate program, small campuses been in the top 50. I can say the same about business. I think top 40 programs. It's internationally accredited with AA CSB, and took them 7 years to get that. So it's a very select few of our business schools across the country, and we're part of that. Arts and Sciences has the majority of our students in that college, 1,500, and there are 60 or so programs. But we excel in the sciences, medical sciences, and of course the arts, the humanities, and many other things we've added, like data analytics, and we've added public health major as well. So some new things there. Pharmacy is, we've always been known, especially in Ohio, nationwide too, but at one point in time, I think it's still true, 1/4 of all working pharmacists have graduated from Ohio Northern. So definitely a big impact on our state.
I've never heard that stat. I've been familiar with the pharmacy program, but I didn't know that's it. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. And then we have a law school as well. We have a pre-law program too for those students interested in wanting to do a 3+3 program. We have that. Or students want to come in with their bachelor's degree. It's usually 3 years after that for our Juris Doctorate degree. And you can see the average class size and student faculty ratio. And then we've changed things in terms of our freshman offerings and our first year experiences, including general education courses that have been revamped and retitled, and the content includes more technology and more modern, I think, approaches to things like Communications 101 or Western Civilization 101. They have catchy titles. There's usually a theme. My daughter just finished her first year here, and I was asking her about her communication classes, and she was going around and with her phone covering live events and working in groups and making YouTube videos, and plus learning about communications in a variety of ways. And I think she got a lot out of it, and a lot more than what I remember as a student. So it's I was excited for her, and the other classes similar too. But the capstone courses happen in your senior year, so you can pull all that information together, have something cool to show for it. Internships, some majors require them, but I've had some friends go to Disney for their internship and go to some of the businesses they look forward in going into, and so it's really neat and inspiring to see what they get to do there. Undergraduate research is something I think is very unique about Ohio Northern. If you want to do research, you can here, and with the help of an advisor and working maybe on something the professor's working on too. Some are individual, some are in groups, but some students are getting published here. They're using some of our instruments that sometimes you see on a big state campus, like our big NMR instrument that freezes samples down to like 4 degrees Kelvin, and you can see the molecular structure of molecules in a picture. It's really amazing. But things like that. We have study abroad as well, 30 countries represented, and then lots of service learning and other things to experience here. And you can see some of our percentages as we compare with other schools, and on the research, internship, and senior experiences too. I'm going to move forward to outcomes and some of these third-party sources. You can look on your own, but it ranked number 5 in the Midwest according to U.S. News and World Report. Here are a couple other ones with Forbes. Zippia rates us as number 1 in Ohio to get a student a job, and 3rd in the nation. And you can see our placement rate. And that placement rate is pretty accurate because almost all of our students reported for 2019. So it's nice to have something solid and something that's accurate like that 96%. Lots of ways of getting involved here. Yes, we are in a small town, but there is so much involvement, and we make our own entertainment for our students, and I think students really enjoy that. You can see some of the organizations here, some based on the major, like engineering. There's a couple groups. Robotic football down there at the bottom. Our Baja vehicles. The students create those vehicles from the ground up. And then we have other things too related to any interests you have, like we got women's rugby, we have ice hockey here, and there's fencing. And if I put that there because sometimes students want to start their own organization. Maybe it's something you did in high school, but you could do that here too. And now they're a club sport, so sometimes they grow and become a common organization on campus. We also have the visual and performing arts too. A really nice theater with 550 seat auditorium with a stage. It's on hydraulics. They can lower that up and down. They can fly in 30 scenes from behind. The shows are amazing here. And I should say that musical theater is one of our competitive programs, and they just put on the finest performances. There's also a second theater in that building as well. But we have band and choir. I mentioned the visual arts. We have also a lot happening in volunteer hours, 50,000 hours, with half of our students participating. ACE Day is one of those. First weekend, the weekend right before classes start. We get everyone out on different projects in our community, and you can meet people, meet friends, meet people in the community that way, and it's a lot of fun. And we're Division III here, and not only do we have the Division III NCAA sports, but also intramurals, and we also have club sports as well, and not to mention esports. So my son is big into some of the video games, and so he's hoping to play here. I never thought I would see it at the college level, but here we are. We're all the schools in our conference have esports. And we have Greek life here too. 17% or roughly participate in one of our 7 national fraternities or one of our 4 national sororities. And they have fun events. Over there at the top, there's the polar plunge that's hosted by one of the fraternities. And some believe that it's a rite of passage. You're not a true polar bear until you do the polar plunge. But I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon. But anyway, we have leadership events, great things open to the campus, and they give so much back to the philanthropies, the good causes that they raise money for. We're affiliated with the United Methodist Church, and while we have a chapel every Thursday at 11, it's not required. So if students want to attend, great. There will never be a class that's offered at that time at 11, so it's always open in case a student does want to come. We have other worship groups on campus too. Part of our history is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave one of his last speeches on a college campus here, and before he was killed. And so we honor him. We celebrate diversity. It is our motto. It's in Latin on the seal of our university, and so we really open our hearts, we're open to diverse students that want them on campus. And while it's difficult being in a small town, if we were in a bigger city, it might be easier, but we still trying to attract as many as we can, and international students as well. And probably right now, 80 international students with 20 countries represented. SPC stands for Student Planning Committee. They have exciting events. You can see there camel rides. There's our polar bear Klondike. He's our mascot. And color runs. Of course, mud volleyball. Klondike doesn't play mud volleyball. But the president of our university does. And so you'll see him at the first one of the first games supporting the students. But it seems like a tradition here. Great time to meet friends. It's at the beginning of the semester. And in addition to that, we'll bring in other people, famous, maybe not so famous. We had Drake Bell here in January with his guitar, did a concert. People love seeing him. And we've had our alums back to campus. Bob Peterson is an alum of this university. He wrote the movie Up, if you remember that animation. And he's also, he works for Pixar. He's also helped with many other Pixar films. So look for his name in the next Pixar film. And he probably has some kind of involvement. We have 4 different types of housing here on campus. You can see 3 there. So you live in the dorms with someone. We'll space more people out this fall, but that's Founders. And then Lima Hall is like suite style living, where you have your own room and other person has their own room. You share a bathroom, and then there's a living area that you share too. Apartments for our juniors and seniors, again, have your own room. There's not only do you have a living room, but you have a kitchen in those apartments too. Some are for 4 people, some are for 2 people. And then the housing for Greek life. We have different houses on campus. And it just feels like home. You know, you have apartments connected to a house, and then in the house, you know, there's a big living room with a kitchen, wraparound counter, and a conference room in there too. And so some are really nice. It's a nice way to be in college. And typically students will choose at their sophomore and their junior years. And then you can live off campus your 4th year, or 5th for some of our engineering students and pharmacy students. Mm-hmm. Meal plans, probably typical of most places, but 19 meal plan, there's $250 dining dollars. Here's some of the places you can get food on campus, and a couple of coffee shops. Kosi's like a Panera, more or less. It's uptown, within walking distance. And then Wild Cafe is like our American Grill, kind of like a Applebee's. And then Macintosh is our dining hall. It has 2 sections to it. And so there's a part on our website if you're really interested, want to know more. It's the Sodexo part. Just put in dining, you'll see it, and it'll tell you about different food events. One of my favorite is the blender bikes. You get your bananas, your strawberries, put it in the blender. You set the blender on the bike and you pedal to mix it. And so
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, promoting wellness and healthy eating. Yeah. Of course, our student services, probably very common with most schools: health center, counseling center, free to students. We have Office of Public Safety. They'll help students if they need to get back. If they're in a building really late, they need to get back to their dorm room at 1 o'clock in the morning. They'll help with that sort of thing. And then you can see our variety of services there. Our Student Success Center. We'll help you write papers. We'll help you in your presentations. Well, you know, we want to make sure you're successful at the college level. Sometimes it's a transition for some of our students, and we want it to be a positive outcome. And you can see some of the other things there too. Oh, Polar Careers is if you want to have a job on campus, that's there too. Here's our 2 application types. One is ready right now. Common application should be ready. I haven't checked with the director yet, but we added a couple things. But yeah, we're a member of Common App. You can also, it's up to you. Either way you want to apply is fine. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. And the only deadline we have is College of Pharmacy, December 1st. And so I try to have the transcripts and the test scores. And well, let me talk about that in just a moment too. We have a change there. With going into this season, we understand some students have had trouble signing up or taking the ACT or SAT test. And so we decided to go test optional for this year, see how it goes. We'll base everything off of the high school transcript, looking at what classes we're taking and other information there. Now, if you decide that you want to take the test or you're able to take it later this fall, great. Just let us know. We'll readjust, and if it changes your award, then great. We'll do that. Now,
a question about that, Dean.
Sure.
Are you using test scores then to determine merit awards? Or if a student doesn't submit scores, how are you evaluating them for merit?
That's a good question. Financial aid is working on that right now, but I'm sure they have something started in figuring out what the type of courses, what goes into that GPA. Are they honors courses? Are they dual enrollment courses? Are they AP? I'm sure that will play into it. Sometimes how the school is rated, that might play into it too. I'm guessing. I wish I could say more, but that's all I know for now. I do there at the bottom. If you're interested in nursing or early childhood, middle childhood education, the accreditation requires a test score, right. And so in that case, we'll have to figure out a way. So if it's not possible to sign up for a test, we have a residual we can do. A residual test is one you can come to our campus, take the test, and that score is good for Ohio Northern. And we can use that.
Okay.
For pharmacy, there's a couple additional things, lab recommendation, essay. The interview, we will do early interviews starting in October. We'll do another set in November, and then usually the rest that we see that meet that December 1st deadline, we'll do in January. That's how we did it last year. So, but that's just one added thing. It's a doctoral program, 0 to 6. You start pharmacy classes day one, your freshman year. And so I think that's kind of unique. Not too many 6-year pharmacy programs at the doctoral level that you start your freshman year left. So, but it's unique. And then you can see musical theater has an audition along with that. And they're going to do their auditions online with getaccepted.com. And then holistic review. You can see some of our averages too, which is a good academic class and good environment, a good learning environment. And it's great for when you're what I love about Ohio Northern is almost all of our programs are direct entry. You start right in the program. We don't have a pre-nursing or pre-pharmacy or pre-engineering. You start knowing that you're in the program, and then when you're studying together, you know you're not competing for a seat later down the road. So there's not that competitive spirit. There's more of a collaborative spirit here, and I just think it makes for a great environment. Plus, students have good grades coming in, and it's a good place to be.
Can I ask a question about the review process, Dean? So with things happening in the world right now in terms of with COVID and cancellation of a lot of activities that students might normally be in, how do you feel like you would be reviewing a student's extracurricular involvement or lack thereof, I should say, right now? This is one of the things that's really on the mind of rising seniors is, my sports seasons have been canceled. My theater program is not going on. How will they know that I normally would be involved in those things? So how do you suggest students present that?
Sure. I think we'll look at the earlier years, especially if they're an athlete or in musical type of events. I mean, I think we'll be very sensitive to, just the prior year here, this past spring. But I think just in an essay, if indicate your interests or maybe what you've done in in lieu of that, and just showing us that you're interested will help us to identify you if we need to connect you with a certain coach or with the marching band director, or and some of our awards are tied to some of the involvement, and so letting us know what you're interested in too, maybe in the essay, will be helpful, and we can find out more, or reach out to us, and we certainly can put you in contact with those people too.
Are you reading applications by territory? Is that how Ohio Northern does it?
Yep. We all have 5 territories. We have 6 territories. There's one county here in Ohio. And then I handle most of the out-of-state. Carolyn Mangan does too, but we will tackle on the out-of-state applications. And then internationally, we have an international director here too. Yeah, he'll reach out to every applicant there, if it's possible. Some international students are already in the U.S., and so we're hoping to find them too. But yeah, we do it by territory.
Okay, thank you.
And then scholarships last year, I can't say too much this year, not sure yet, but if a student had 29 or 30 ACT or 1300, 1340, and a 3.7, they were probably getting around the presidential scholarship level. If a student has more of like a 2.8 GPA and more of a 19 or 20, let's say a 1000 SAT, then they're probably getting the faculty scholarship. And in any case, that money comes to the student each year for the 4 years. They don't have to reapply. It's automatic based on the GPA at the end of the junior year. And then, like I said, on the test score, we'll see how that happens. But that's the academic award. We also have Dimension Award. Students that have an ethnic background would be eligible for that. There are talent awards for music, for art, for dance, for writing, creative writing, English. We also have legacy awards and for our alums and their kids. So we'll look at the application. You don't have to look at different applications on our website. We'll see what you're eligible for and match you up. We also have some grants from the state too, and so that's when we see the major, when we see the things that that the students involved in, we can let them know about that.
Great.
And so yeah, there's the territories like you were saying, and so yeah, that's why if you needed to screenshot that, or any student can do that, and feel free to reach out to any of us. Of course, there in the pink, Deb Miller is the director here. And she can also willing to answer anybody's questions and handle anything that you need there, or any one of us.
Are you conducting interviews remotely then? Are you doing that virtually right now, or planning to?
For the interviews for the pharmacy degree program, they'll be doing that either through uvu, or they've been using, I think, Zoom as well.
Okay.
So yeah. And then one thing, and most of our majors are eligible for this Ohio Northern Promise, but I think the president, the trustees have seen, sometimes students have to be at college longer than they need to. Well, here we've made it so that if it's eligible for this Ohio Northern Promise, then and if it's no fault to the student that they have to be here an extra after their graduation time, the university will cover up to 18 credits for free. Now, we hope to not have to ever use that. So the advisors know, and they want to make sure it's a high priority to get all the classes in so that students can graduate on time and get into that job.
That's it.
So,
well, I have a couple questions, if it's okay, if I can ask a couple. So one question I would have is about the mental health resources on campus, especially, as we move ahead now, but I would say even in normal times, I think the topic of mental health is something that's been coming up quite frequently. What kind of what kind of counseling services are offered to students? Is it just, I assume it's maybe just included in tuition? Maybe there's no limits on counseling sessions. I'm not sure how that works. Can you share about that?
Sure. We have a licensed counselor in our counseling center, and it's actually we have two, I think now. And so make an appointment, and they'll meet with students. And yeah, again, it's free, and it's located kind of where the students live, so not too far from there. But yeah, they have a list of services that if you need more detail on our website, just put the counseling center, and then you can search that, and they can help. Rebecca Diller is still there, and yeah, and there's someone else over there as well. Now we also have Tracy Harris on our campus, and she will help with anyone with some disability and any challenges there. And sometimes students might need more time on a test, or they might need things bigger, so they can see them better. And so professors know that if it doesn't come from her, the deans are well aware. And I was a professor here for 13 years. And so I'm familiar, when getting messages from the dean's office. So I say that they're excellent at that, and we'll make the accommodations that we need to make.
Perfect. Well, going back to the application process for students applying to pharmacy or musical theater, can those students be accepted to Ohio Northern and not accepted into those programs, or is it an all-in? If you're applying to pharmacy and you're not accepted, there's not other opportunities for you at Ohio Northern?
Yeah, over the years, not everyone gets into the College of Pharmacy for whatever reason. But I remember Nicole one year. She decided to just major in biology, and she took a lot of the similar classes, except for those introductory pharmacy courses. Well, she expressed her interest throughout the year. She had good grades, doing excellent in all of her science classes and math classes. And so she was able to get into the program her second year and then still graduate in 6 years. So it does happen. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee or it always happens, but it has. And sometimes musical theater, they might come here as a theater major. And then, there's just a time that they maybe prove themselves. And so it just depends, I guess, on the individual, and it sometimes depends on if there's room in the program. But I have seen people come across same thing in engineering. If they're taking calculus, they're taking physics, and they do okay, then I've seen them transition over too.
Got it. So this fall, obviously the visit programs may not look the same as they have in the past. If there are students that are interested in coming to campus or even doing virtual visits, what are those opportunities for families in the coming months as they stand today? I know this stuff can change by the week depending on what's going on, but right now, what are some of the plans, especially thinking about like some of the virtual opportunities? Are you doing open houses virtually? Are you doing meetups with admission counselors? How is that all working?
Yeah, we've had to cancel some of our bigger events, but come visit us. We have made we've made changes in the number of families that we can accept, and so when we've spread things out, we have rooms where there's a lot of space, and so to make it safe for our visitors, and we have all the protocols in place. And so do contact us, and we'll try to fit you in on a visit. And then also virtually, sometimes they happen during the day, and in our visits, we want to connect you with the professor in the field that you're interested in. We want to answer your questions in admissions and financial aid. And then we want to have you meet one of our current students and take a tour of campus. That can happen in person, that it can happen virtually as well. Those three components. And we have some virtual visits around 6 o'clock, like in the evening too, if that's better for your schedule. But yeah, both. And highly encourage it. Can't tell you right now on typically on our big events, but the ones we had, those have been canceled. But hopefully yeah, you can visit in person or virtually, and we'll go from there.
Well, I like that you're offering the opportunity for students to meet with a student or a faculty member too, in addition, during those virtual opportunities. I think that's something that is, something that's going to set a lot of colleges apart during this time, is that access to individuals. Not that there's not that there's not value in the traditional virtual open house formats, but certainly especially for a place like Ohio Northern, where the personal connections are so important. I think that this is a great entryway for that, by them being able to connect with people on an individual basis. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Well, I am very appreciative that you were able to share this information with us, Dean. And anybody interested in learning more, you can scroll back to that screen where Dean shared the information about the counselors and what areas they cover. But certainly, I'm sure if there are questions that anybody has, he'd be willing to answer those for you. So thanks for all of the great information, Dean. It was really great chatting with you, and I hope everybody enjoyed learning more about Ohio Northern University. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.